Good evening and welcome to the January 14th, 2026 meeting of the Administration of Finance Committee coming to you live from the Great Hall at Town Hall in Plymouth, Massachusetts. This meeting will be conducted in a hybrid format with some participants attending physically and others attending virtually via a video conference application. The meeting will be airing on Comcast 9, Verizon 47, or on the local streaming channel www.youtube.com/@Plymouth Meetings SLS. Any speaker is allowed to give public comment and is allotted up to 5 minutes in which to speak. Public comment can be made at the beginning or end of each meeting or in regard to a particular agenda item the speaker wishes to be heard on. Anyone who wants to attend the meeting virtually, including members of the public who wish to give public comment, can or should use one of the following methods in which to do so. Join via the Zoom app. Download the meeting Zoom app on your device. Click Join, enter the meeting ID 995-2986-0638, and then the meeting password 100131, or via the Zoom website at www.zoom.us. Click Join Meeting at the top right-hand side and enter the meeting ID 995-2986-0638, and then the meeting password 100131. Or, for voice-only service via telephone, dial 929-205-6099. And again, the meeting ID is 995-2986-0638, and meeting password is 10031. Is there anyone in the room here who public comment or virtually, remotely? I don't see anyone remotely. I do see a couple people remotely, Aldonardo and Silvio. Any public comments? All right, great, we'll move on. Seeing and hearing none. First order of business is to approve the minutes of December 17, 2025. Oh, wait a minute, I skipped the roll call, my bad. So let me go through that. Ms. Butler, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Dunn? Right. Mr. Friedman?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Jacinto?
Present.
Ms. Keating?
Here.
I think I'm here. Mr. Malaguti? I see him online.
Here.
Okay, great. Ms. O'Connor?
Here.
Mr. Ramey? Here. Ms. Reitman?
Here.
Ms. Richards?
Here.
It's great to see Mr. Snyder.
Here.
All right, Ms. Tompkins?
Here.
Mr. Trudell?
Here.
And Mr. Vecchi?
Here.
Good, I remembered everybody tonight. So you may have noticed in calling the roll that we have a couple of new names here. Over the course since we last left our heroes in December, Mr. Renault and Mr. Pizarro had to resign for various reasons. And we have two new members tonight that we welcome. One is Maria Reitman, and the other one, and to my right, is Dennis Friedman. So welcome to the committee, and starting with Ms. Reitman, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go around and introduce everybody.
Certainly. Maria Reitman, Precinct 7. I have been a Plymouth resident from 2009 and have recently decided to become way more active in the community. I've participated in the Plymouth Center Committee that gave me some perspective, and I'm looking forward to working on this committee.
Oh, it's great to have you. Mr. Friedman.
Yes, so I'm new to Plymouth. Just moved into the Pine Hills in August, and previously lived in Hingham for about 40 years and served on the advisory committee there for 6 years, and the school committee for 3 years, and a few other committees. So when I moved here, I had the good fortune of meeting Gail Butler, and found out that she was on the advisory and finance, and she said, "You'd be great here." And I said, "Really?" But in any case, the opening came up, and I agreed to join.
Well, wonderful. So why don't we start down with Mr. Vecchi, and if we could just give a brief introduction. So. That's interesting. Mr. Vecchi, a little brief intro to our new members, please.
Hi, my name's Scott Beike. I am born and raised in Plymouth, an attorney, and I also work part-time as an EMT. I've been involved in several boards and committees in the town, Charter Commission, Charter Review, Redevelopment, Historic District, and now I'm fortunate enough to be on the Advisory and Finance, where I hope to help solve our town's financial woes.
Thank you. Mr. Trudeau?
I moved to Plymouth in 2013, vowing never to become associated with anything doing with finance from my previous issue. And I'm here again. Anyways, I have a varied background, government property, insurance, brokerage. I had a lot of fun.
Great. Yeah, that's the idea, but it's Mrs. Richards' turn to say something positive.
Wow, that's quite an introduction. Christine Richards, Precinct 14. Up until very recently, I was the IT director at the Registry of Deeds in Plymouth County for 34 years. I've lived in Plymouth the majority of my life and come from a background prior to that, prior to my service at the registry, in finance and banking. I've been on this board for about 3.5 years, and that is it. So that is positive, I suppose.
It's very positive. Thank you.
Thanks.
Ms. Butler?
Hi, I'm Gail Butler, Precinct 15. This is my 16th year living in Plymouth. Thoroughly enjoy it. I found that I enjoyed being here, but I got a little bit bored. I'm used to working. So I figured, oh, we'll try this. And it has filled my time completely and enjoyed every moment of it, except for last night leaving at 12 o'clock.
All right, and then we'll move on down to Mr. Snyder.
Mark Snyder. I've been in Plymouth for 4 years. I've served 19 years now on finance committees in 3 different towns. I'm a masochist, obviously, and I really think we need a lot. We have a lot of work to do this year, so I'm very happy to be here and to be a part of it.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Snyder. Ms. Tompkins?
Good evening, Emily Tompkins. I currently live in Precinct 14, but I grew up just north of downtown. I'm a lifelong resident. This will be my 3rd budget cycle on the Advisory and Finance Committee, and I also serve on the Master Plan Committee as well for townwide planning.
Thank you. Mr. Malaguti? Mr. Malaguti?
Sorry about that. Hi, my name is Everett Malaguti. I am a 14-year town meeting rep before coming on to the Advisory and Finance from Precincts 1 and 2. This is my 2nd budget cycle on the committee. I am also a lifelong Plymouthian that has served on numerous boards and committees and still do to this day. And I do it not just for the residents that I enjoy helping them create a better and fulfilling experience in life in the town that they grew up in or moved to, but I also do it, as some wouldn't say, but I do it for fun.
Thank you, Mr. Malaguti. Ms. O'Connor?
Hi, I'm fairly new to Plymouth as well. I've been here since 2023, and I actually grew up in Hingham, so got a little commonality there with our new member. I am a business owner. I sold my first business in the fall, officially, finally, and I've got a franchise that I have, one in Hanover and one will be opening in downtown Plymouth. Shameless self-plug there for everyone that doesn't know, but I'm excited to be a business owner in town as well. But this will be my 2nd budget cycle on the committee, and joined because I wanted to be a part of the town in a more comprehensive way. This is going to be where I land for good. So, welcome. We're happy to have you.
Great, thank you very much. All right, going down to Ms. Keating.
Hi, welcome. I am also fairly new to the committee. I joined, I think, in end of August, beginning of September. I live in precinct 16. I'm raising 2 young children here. I work in nonprofit public health field and excited to have new members. Thanks.
Great, Mr. Ramey.
Hi, Miles Ramey, Precinct 4. I was born and raised here, joined the Navy, was away for about 10 years, dragged my wife and kid back here in 2023, and did a brief stint at a tech company, and now I'm a head of an assistant at the DA's office and trying to go to law school, so that's that.
Great, Mr. Jacinto.
Hi, Tom Jacinto. I am a Precinct 8 member, resident for about 9 years down there. My daughter's gotten a little older, so I have a little more time to get involved with the town. I'm excited to have this endeavor. I also serve on the Master Planning Committee, and I'm a career lieutenant paramedic for the town of Hingham. So continuing on the Hingham train here. And that's all.
Thank you. And I'm Joe Lally. I moved to the town of Plymouth as a result of getting a job in Boston back in 2019. I looked it up last night. I've been on FinCom since July of 21. Mr. Dunn is probably the senior member of this committee. I think he goes back into the teens. But anyway, I've been chair since July, and I really enjoy. And what the important part of this committee is the diversity of thought and ideas and perspectives that you all bring to this, and we quite frankly rely very heavily on. So please feel free to share your thoughts, and we have a lot of work coming up ahead of us. So thank you for all that you do, and we're off to and running into a new year. So our first Springtown meeting business today is to begin with Article 1, reports of, actually, I take that back. We need to approve the minutes of December 17th, but I think I'm going to table that right now because we have some people to present, and then we'll come back to that once we've gone through the articles, just so they don't have to stay here and listen to us for a while. So let's start with Article 1, reports of boards and committee. This is a usually expected housekeeping item. Is to hear the reports of the several boards and officers and committees of the town thereon, or take any action relative thereto. Is there any discussion about this article? We see this every year. Believe it or not, it's something we have to approve. Right? Hearing and seeing no discussion, either remotely, any public comment. I don't see any in person or remotely. And I'm having a little Zoom problem on my machine, but I'm back now. Okay, well, is there a motion perhaps to approve Article 1? Mr. Trudell moves.
To approve Article 1.
Ms. Richards?
I will second that.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Is there any discussion among the board? All right, seeing and hearing none. Ms. Butler, how do you vote?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Friedman?
Yes.
Mr. Jacinto?
Yes.
Ms. Keating?
Yes.
Mr. Malaguti? Mr. Malaguti, we can't hear you or see you. Thumbs up would do.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Ms. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Ramey?
Yes.
Ms. Reitman? Ms. Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Ms. Tompkins?
Yes.
Mr. Trudell?
Yes.
Mr. Vecchi?
Yes.
All right, the motion carries unanimously. The second item here is revolving fund spending limits to see if the town will vote pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Paragraph 53E and a half, to establish the fiscal year 2027 spending limits for each revolving fund established by Chapter 143 of the general bylaws, departmental revolving funds, or take any other action relative thereto. Is there any discussion or questions among the board about this? Committee, rather. Seeing and hearing none, is there any desire, any public comment on this particular article?
Chair, which article are you?
Excuse me, I didn't follow the script here. Scratch that. I should have gone to Article 3, my bad. Part of my last night
Yeah,
hangover.
Article
I think,
2 is
from
not
a
on
long
our
meeting.
agenda.
But it's good to see that Jeanette is keeping me on my toes. All right, Article 3, continuation of committees. I'm back on script now. All right, to see what action the town will take pursuant to Chapter 173 of the general bylaws regarding the formation, reformation, organization, or continuation or discharge of existing committees created by a vote of town meeting, or take any other action relative thereto. Any questions from the committee members? Yes, Ms. Tompkins.
Thank you. I just didn't see on the town website the 1749 Court Street or the Plymouth Energy Committee. I didn't know if these were still active and involved committees at this time. Or if this
So-
is just, again, another housekeeping routine item.
This is a housekeeping thing that will either allow the reformation, organization, creation, or discharge of existing committees. It just allows the town to do that. Does that answer your question? Mr. Malaguti?
Yeah, so I had the same questions as Ms. Tompkins, and the only two things is similar to that. I thought I heard from other meetings that the 1749 Courthouse Committee, which is misspelled in our agenda, that was disbanded and is now partly under Connor Anderson's purview. And last year, the Select Board, in my opinion, wrongfully terminated the Energy Committee for that. So I would like, in my opinion, I'd like a table of the vote until there's better clarification on that, because it's saying to continue them, and if they're non-existent anymore, I'm wondering why they should still be on the docket.
All right, so this again is a housekeeping thing to allow the mechanism that if it was wrongly discharged, that it could be reformed. And so it really doesn't, in my opinion, speak to your concern, but it'll allow the mechanism that would allow for the reformation of the committee if it was incorrectly discharged to come back in. But I think Mr. Janeo would like to make a comment about that. So, Mr. Janeo?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Silvio Janelle, Assistant Town Manager. I just want to confirm that the three committees that would be included under this article are the 1749 Court Street Committee. Courthouse, thank you. The Plymouth Energy Committee and the North Plymouth Steering Committee. So those are the three that are up for renewal at the discretion of town meeting.
All right, does that satisfy your concern, Mr. Malaguti?
Partly, but if I could just get a response from Silvio, if a committee has been disbanded by the Select Board, wouldn't that void it from being put on for a town meeting to vote, or is it still on it because town meeting was the one that approved and formulated the committee?
I will have to check how the that committee was formed, but the only reason it would be on an article for town meeting to renew is because it was a town meeting formed committee, because that's the purpose of this article. Is I think most of these articles per chapter, I believe 173 of the bylaws, I think is section 4, talks about committees formed by town meeting shall be formed, but for a period of no longer than 3 years. So every 3 years, these committees come up for renewal for town meeting, and that's why in your packets, every time we review this article, the committees change. So these are the three that are up for renewal this year. So I would assume, based on that these are town meeting formed committees. But Everett, I can definitely check and shoot you an email tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Ms. Richards. Ms. Richards, go ahead.
Just to clarify, so does that mean, Everett, you want to make a motion to table this, or are we going to go forward with it
I would make
This-
a motion to table for clarification.
All right, so there's a motion made by Mr. Malaguti to table Article 3 until a later date.
I'll
while
second
this-
that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said I'd be happy to second that.
All right, so is there a second? Did you second, Mr. Snyder? I couldn't quite hear. Okay,
I
great.
did, yes.
So we have a motion to table the discussion for a later date and a second from Mr. Snyder. Discussion among the board committee. Yes, sir, Mr. Jacinto.
I'll mirror their sentiment. It sounds like this just pushes these off for another 3 years. If these committees aren't meeting, then we should probably get clarification and not just approve them for 3 more years.
So I didn't quite hear that.
It says the 2026 recommendation would be to continue to review these 3 at the 2029 annual town meeting. So these would just be in existence for 3 more years.
This is, as I understand, this is a mechanism that allows the town to create, change, organize, continue, or discharge existing committees by the town. So they can create, this is a mechanical thing, not a particular comment on any particular subcommittee, in my opinion. So, Mr. Friedman.
Yeah, so clearly I'm very new at this, but I was going to say something along the lines of what you just said, which is whether the 1749 Courthouse Committee or whatever is disbanded, not disbanded, or whatever, really is not germane to this motion, to this article, because this article says as town meeting, we allow the town meeting to be able to disband or reform or whatever. So whether that, we find out that that committee has been discharged or not, whether it's appropriate or inappropriate, it seems to me that there's no reason to table this article.
All right, thank you. Further discussion? All right, Ms. Tompkins.
Just saying I'm in agreement with that last comment that this is general housekeeping item, so I'm comfortable with moving forward with a vote to approve this.
All right. Any other, Mr. Ramey?
It sounds like not all of these committees have stopped meeting. So I would be in favor of tabling it if we find out that some of them, in fact, no longer wish to continue, and then getting one that allows the ones that are continuing to continue.
Again, I would suggest, it's my opinion that, that having this pass will allow the town to do what you just said, and not passing it will prohibit the town from doing what you just said. And what Mr. Malaguti said as well.
In that case, then I would be in favor of passing this.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right. So before I take a vote on the motion, voting yes on this particular motion will table the discussion to a later date, and voting no will defeat the motion, after which we will entertain a motion to vote to approve Article 3 as presented. So people all set to vote? All right, so on the motion that was made by Mr. Malaguti and seconded by Mr. Snyder, Ms. Butler, how do you vote?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Friedman, how do you vote?
No.
All right. Mr. Jacinto?
No.
Ms. Keating?
No.
Mr. Malaguti?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. O'Connor?
No.
All right, Mr. Ramey?
No.
Ms. Reitman? Ms. Richards?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Tompkins?
No.
Mr. Trudell?
No.
Mr. Vecchi?
No.
All right, we're tallying the votes right now with all precincts reporting. All right, so we have 4 yeses, 9 noes. The motion carries. We will table this for another date.
I
Oh, wait a
believe
minute.
it's the opposite.
We had 9 noes. I had it backwards. Again, I'm suffering from last night. So the motion does not carry. And now we're at the point where, would someone like make a motion to approve Article 3, create continuation of committees?
I'll make that motion.
All right, made by Ms. Richards. Is there a second?
Second.
The second was from
Mr.
Mr. Ramey. Okay, great. Any discussion among the board? All right. On the vote, Ms. Butler. I heard yes from Ms. Butler, okay. Mr. Friedman,
Yes.
Mr. Jacinto,
Yes.
Ms. Keating,
Yes.
Mr. Malaguti.
Abstain.
All right, he abstains. Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Ramey,
Yes.
Ms. Reitman, Ms. Richards,
Yes.
all right, Mr. Snyder,
Yes.
Ms. Tompkins,
Yes.
Mr. Trudell,
Yes.
Mr. Vecchi.
Yes.
All right, the motion carries, I believe it's 13 yeses, 1 abstention. And did you get the motion makers, Jeanette? Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, it's been exciting so far. Article 4, salaries of elected officials. Again, another housekeeping item to see what action the town will take pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Paragraph 108, with regard to fixing the salaries of elected town officials or take any other action relative thereto. Questions from the committee? All right, any public comment or questions? All right, seeing and hearing none, would someone like to make a motion perhaps to approve Article 4?
I'll motion
So
to
moved.
approve Article 4.
All right, a motion to approve Article 4 as presented by Ms. Keating. Is there a second?
Second.
A second from Mr. Friedman. Is there any discussion among the board? Seeing and hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Ms. Butler,
Yes.
Mr. Friedman,
Yes.
Mr. Jacinto,
Yes.
Mr. Keating,
Yes.
Mr. Malaguti,
No.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Ramey,
Yes.
Ms. Reitman, Ms. Richards,
Yes.
Mr. Snyder,
Yes.
Ms. Tompkins,
Yes.
Mr. Trudell,
Yes.
Mr. Vecchi.
Yes.
All right, the motion carries, I think it's 13 yes, 1 no. Okay, great. And did you get the motion makers? Jeanette? Great, thank you. All right, tonight, we have Article 17, General Fund Operating Budget, to see what action the town will take to provide a reserve fund and to determine what sums of money the town will raise and appropriate, including appropriations from available funds towards defraying charges and expenses of, I'm reading the wrong article again, my bad. Disregard. Chapter 90 roads. To see if the town will vote to accept and expend such sum or sums of money allotted or to be allotted to the town from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts under provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 90, or under any other state roadway reimbursement program for fiscal year 27, and to authorize the Select Board to enter into a contract or contracts with Massachusetts Department of Transportation Highway Division for such purposes, and further, to authorize the treasurer with the approval of the Select Board to borrow in anticipation of 100% reimbursement of said amounts or to take any other action relative thereto. This is from Department of Public Works Engineering Division. So I believe we have Mr. James Downey this evening from Highway. Welcome, Mr. Downey, and please go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Lally. For the record, James Downey, Assistant Director of DPW. And I'm here tonight just to answer any questions in case anybody has. In regards to this article, it is housekeeping. Annually, we get money from the state for Chapter 90, and this is just housekeeping to accept those funds.
So believe it or not, we have to, select town meeting has to approve the ability for us to get money from others. So this is really what this is about. Are there any questions from the board on this particular, committee on this particular? Yes, Mr. Jacinto.
When do you typically know how much you're getting?
Good question. So last year, we did get a letter towards the end of February. So I would say we would probably anticipate sometime by the end of February.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, as we learned last night, the state typically will conclude their budget process towards late February if everything goes well and nothing goes wrong. I don't see anything from A and F. Any questions from the public? Great. With that, seeing and hearing no questions or comments from the public, would someone like to make a motion to approve Article 17, Chapter 90 roads?
I'll make a motion to approve Article 17.
There were three people talking at once. Okay. Mr. Jacinto, are you making a motion?
I will.
Okay. Is there a second?
I would second it.
That was Mr. Snyder seconding the motion. Is there any discussion among the committee? All right, seeing and hearing none, call for the vote. Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Friedman?
Yes.
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 Okay. Mr. Jacinto?
Yes.
Ms. Keating?
Yes.
Mr. Malaguti?
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Ramey?
Yes.
Ms. Reitman? Ms. Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Ms. Tompkins?
Yes.
Mr. Trudell?
Yes.
Mr. Vecchi? All right, I believe we have 14 yeses, unanimous vote. And did you get the motion makers? Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Downey, for coming.
Okay, thank you too.
Great.
Thank you for your time and the affirmative vote.
Thank you for what you do in your department. All right, Mr. Ramey is going to give us a brief update on the status of the audit committee. There's been a couple things that have happened since we last met.
Yes. Hello. So I reached out to Ms. Barrett, the finance director, and so the auditors have, well, the old audit company, CBiz, was finally able to provide their outstanding reports to us. So we have received the basic financial statements and the single audit as of 12/23/2025, and she was able to approve and submit the single audit report to the Federal Audit Clearinghouse that was previously due on March 31st of 2025. And she did that on December 23rd of 2025. And we sent the reports to Standard & Poor's as they had requested them, and that is part of keeping our bond rating current because of all the chaos with CBiz that had been happening statewide. Our bond rating was unaffected because they understood that this was not just an us problem, even though, as you can see, there is a long time between March 31st and December 23rd, 2025, but they do have them now. And CBiz was able to provide the 2024 trial balances and the 2024 workbook to our new auditors, which they needed to work on the 2025 audit. And they have been here all through December. We are still waiting on CBiz to provide the town's fixed asset file and to give it to the new auditors. And they've said that they'll send it to us, but she needs to follow up with and this was as of January 5th. And we still have a balance owed to CBiz, but we're holding that until we get the fixed asset file. And the new auditors have started to do their preliminary work, and they were here for the first 3 weeks of December, but they're now remote. We owe them some information for 2025 for them to continue, which I just told you. And we're working on those items now, and once they're completed and submitted to them, they will schedule to come back out. And their goal is to have reports by March 31st. So we're not late again this year. And there is a new Assistant Director of Finance who starts on February 2nd. His name's Cameron Warren. And after he starts, he will come to the first or second ANF meeting after in February.
So specifically, the audit reports that were in your packet
Yes.
are for FY24,
Yes.
albeit late. So thank you so we've reconstituted that. Mr. Ramey is the chair. Any members, including our two new members, have interest in serving on that audit subcommittee, It'd be really nice to have at least one more member, so please contact Mr. Ramey directly if you're interested. Thank you, Mr. Ramey, for that report. Any questions from Mr. Ramey? Any questions from the public for Mr. Ramey? I don't see anyone. Okay, great, thank you. I want to go back up to the minutes of December 17th for our new members, unless you have visited or reviewed the video online on YouTube or the PAC TV site, you would typically abstain since you were not at the meeting. So with that, does anyone have any revisions, proposed revisions to the minutes of December 17th? Seeing and hearing none. Any discussion on the minutes? Is there a motion to approve the minutes for December 17th? Mr. Trudell makes a motion to approve the minutes of December 17th as presented. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Mr. Ramey seconds. Any discussion among the committee? Seeing and hearing none. Ms. Butler, how do you vote? Mr. Friedman?
Abstain.
Mr. Jacinto?
Yes.
Mr. Keating? Sorry, Ms. Keating.
Abstain.
I'm tired. Mr. Malaguti?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, he did. All right, so I think we're at Mr. Malaguti.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Ms. O'Connor?
Abstain.
All right. Mr. Ramey?
Yes.
Ms. Reitman? No, he would abstain. So I need you to speak.
Abstain?
Thank you. Ms. Richards?
Abstain.
Mr. Snyder?
Abstain.
Ms. Tompkins?
Yes.
Mr. Trudell?
Yes.
Mr. Vecchi?
Yes.
All right. All right, so we have 8 yeses, 6 abstentions, 0 noes. The motion carries. All right, wonderful. All right, Ms. Richards has been doing a lot of work around Burke's Law update, and would you please be kind enough to share your thoughts?
Good evening. So I would be remiss if I didn't begin with thanking Mr. Malaguti for enlightening me on Burke's Law when he started on this committee. Prior to that, I did not know what this meant. So I'm not going to give a definition on Burke's Law other than it's an analysis of what has been approved by town meeting, either an annual town meeting or a special town meeting, both spring and fall, and what has been spent and what the balance is in those. So I think you all received a spreadsheet, and it's also within the packet that you received for tonight's meeting. The COPC, the Committee of Precinct Chairs, has also formed a committee called the Legislative Oversight Committee to look into these balances, which I just became aware of several weeks ago, that they're also doing this, or they're doing this as well. I had always been very interested, as Mr. Malaguti, when Mr. Malaguti brought it up, he and I spoke about it. What are we doing with this money, and why do we have such balances dating back to, sometimes back in 2013, we have balances outstanding. So I took, and I'm not finished in my analysis yet, but I took what I received from Jeanette, thank you, Jeanette, against what the Legislative Oversight Committee submitted, and I've been going kind of back and forth, looking at where the discrepancies are, what the discrepancies are, why is it a discrepancy? Why do we have a balance? So that's kind of the project that I've undertaken. The difference between Jeanette's, which and I believe Munis, the budgeting software is the correct number. So that balance right now, as of January 6th, is 19.7 million. Legislative Oversight Committee has a balance of 31 million as of, I want to say it was in the fall. So, that's quite a discrepancy of $12 million. They're looking that there's $12 million hanging out somewhere. And what are we going to do about that money? Where's it going to go? How can we move it into an area where we can utilize it more effectively? Especially the old articles. And by old articles, find an old article, or one with a significant balance. So some of these, there's a 2016, you have $4,000, but some of them really add up. And after my analysis, I will give everybody an update. Let me see, we have 2018 for a mooring plan. So there hasn't been any money spent. We initially appropriated $69,700. There's a balance of $18,000. It may sound like a drop in the bucket, but when it all adds up, we're looking at some significant money. 2021, we had an appropriation for Town Wharf bulkhead. We have a balance of $65,000. So this is all money that when we are appropriating for additional capital outlays, that, we should be looking at, this money can be then used for capital outlays, perhaps in the same department, and just transferred from one fund to another, so that we're not putting out more money. So that is what I've endeavored to do, to look at and analyze. And if anybody has any questions, feel free.
Mr. Vecchi.
So my question is more procedural. So once we've identified this, what would the procedure be to move that money somewhere else? Would that have to go to a town meeting article, or is that something that if it stays within the same department, that it could be moved within the budget without that?
So one thing that happened last Springtown meeting, I believe it was, there came a motion from the floor to take some money out of an article project that the police had, that had been one of the kinds of projects that Ms. Richards and Mr. Malaguti have spoken of, and reduced the police budget, but I think about $500,000, and funded that request, which was to purchase some equipment, I believe, using, essentially that money went back into free cash, and then it was used to make the purchase that the police department would, and kept it off the tax levy. So the short answer is, if that project is closed out, then the money goes back to free cash.
To free
And from there,
cash, and then it can be
allocated to other
reappropriated.
places. So the exercise that I always used to call this dialing for dollars in terms of managing my capital budget in my professional life. So there are projects that get done, and there's leftover funds, and it's just a discipline issue to fully close out the project and return the funds back to the funding source. It's a little bit more tenuous when you need more money to close out the project, but when there's leftover, and or people like to keep a little, there's all kinds of reasons, but essentially the money needs to come back to free cash. So in addition to the Burke's Law effort, the Committee of Precinct Chairs commissioned a team where Kristen Ford was the staff support for that. They came and gave us a presentation, I think in November or December, I can't remember which, showing their work. And it was a fairly significant work. They were actually going out, meeting with the departments, trying to get statuses. And now they're in a busy cycle right now, but they promised they would be getting back started again this spring. So perhaps when we get through our budget cycle, we'll invite them for an update and encourage them to keep doing the good work. But in the meantime, if you look through that report and have particular questions, it's within our purview to ask the interested party to come. Mr. Malaguti, I didn't see your hand. Go ahead.
That's okay, thank you. And thank you for, Ms. Richards, for bringing this up and endeavoring this, not with me, but also the Legislative Oversight Committee, which I'm also a part of as well, too. I would like to also state that since we now, as a committee, have the Burke's Law material that we've somewhat familiarized and also have at our groups as well, too, if we do find something in there that correlates to a project or something that's being asked for currently or in the future that has not moved from there to free cash yet, we can always ask if the money has been finished for the project and use and make an amendment on our committee to move that funding toward another project as well too. So that's another way, Mr. Vecchi, that we could also have that money allocated differently as well too.
Thank you, and I think this is an interesting topic because last night we did see some project, some purchases, some capital outlay moved to free cash in order to work on the tax levy. So if this, timing is right for this, this might be a good budget cycle to find a whole bunch of money.
I couldn't agree more. So what happened last night was the select board decided to remove funding for a couple of police cruisers, was one of the examples, from the operating, 2 police cruisers, from the police operating budget, and instead funded out of free cash. So that meant the levy was reduced by that amount and absorbed free cash. But again, free cash is made up of lots of sources, including surplus funds at the end of the year, but it's also the return of unused funds. And there's always lots of draw on that. Mr. Malaguti. Is that an old hand? Mr. Malaguti? Right, well, I guess I'll lower his hand. I'm going to do that. Okay, I'll work on that in a moment or two. All right, any other questions? Yes.
I would just like to note that the Burke's Law report is by department. And so you are all going to be meeting with these departments. So that would be an opportunity to bring the report and ask them what the plans are for the funds that are in there. And they can update you on how they plan to use it and how they, see it. And the finance department in May reaches out to all departments because we're going to close the books at the end of the year, and to see if they are now completed and satisfied that they won't be using the funds so they can be returned. So we give them till May of the current year to see if they're going to use them and if they've reallocated it. But you're going to be meeting with them, so that would be an opportunity to get an idea of what they're going to do. And if they are returning, if they're finished and they're going to have us transfer them back. So that will give you an idea of where some of those projects stand.
Great point, and it is certainly within the purview of the subcommittees to make a recommendation to fund some part of the budget with a recapture of Burke's Law money. But just remember, that's a one-time shot, so, but it is important to, it's well within your purview. You can make that as part of your budget recommendation on your particular subcommittee. Or you can bring it up when we're voting the budgets sometime in February, I think it is. 18th is the big day, I think, right? Something like that. Ms. Richards.
In looking at the spreadsheets also, I've noticed that there are some projects that have gone untouched for, the money has gone untouched for several years, up to 5 years or more. And, I think we should really think about how long, is too long. How long should that project be sitting there, not moving forward? And, that's certainly a policy issue that we should be looking at.
So if I may, I think when you look at something like the purchase of police cruisers, and there's $10,000 left over, you know, I'd say that, within 3 to 6 months, it's pretty well wrapped up and done. Now, contrast that with a construction project. Oh, let's just take Water Street for an example, where there's all kinds, there has been, or there's been the threat of litigation. It's a very complicated project. It's going on much longer than it should. Those can take, well, the longest I've seen in my career was still going at 13 years after the beneficial occupancy because of litigation or the threat thereof. So use your good judgment when you bring something forward. Mr. Friedman.
So I believe I heard that you said there was a discrepancy of about $12 million between this spreadsheet and one that's being kept in the finance department. I don't need a long explanation, but I'm just curious as to what that might be or why it might be.
It's okay. It's mainly because when this discrepancy is because the spreadsheet that the Legislative Oversight Committee provided does not have the 2025 capital outlay that was approved in the spring or the fall. So those aren't in here. Those aren't included. So a lot of that money was approved last year, but was not included in this spreadsheet. But just to kind of piggyback on what the chair was speaking of, I have the Cedarville Cemetery expansion for $20,250 that's on hold, but it's been on hold since 2020. So.
Those are exactly the right kind of questions to ask, and I
Sure.
think that's part of our job, so I
Yep.
appreciate you doing that.
Thank you.
It's those kind of questions. So, for example, in the latest discussions around what to do with Memorial Hall, and on a site visit, I learned that there was money granted that for the sealing and recaulking of the exterior walls that had never been spent. So that happens this past summer, at least for the north and east walls, and it's making a difference now because part of the, I won't get into Memorial Hall. I won't be here long, so. But I mean, those are great questions to ask, is the bottom line. So the Oversight Committee's work began recently. They did a lot of work around it, so I'm expecting at some point, I hope we'll have an instantiated process. So we're at the beginning of the beginning. Right,
Jim.
anything else, Ms. Richards? Thank you for doing all that work.
No, I think that'll be it. And again, I want to thank Everett for bringing this to my attention. And Everett, if you'd like help on that committee, I'd love to join.
Thank you. We're always looking for people to come to bring any expertise that they can bring to us and any outside information that they can do if they've done it from other committees or from other towns. I do want to say that Ms. Richards is correct for the actual discrepancy amounts. We have made it that the legislative oversight that once any funding articles do get voted on in the future will populate that spreadsheet within a month of the vote so that the actual residents and committees and boards can see that in real time, so we can get accurate tracking on it. And we also do as well too, unlike the Burke's Law, we also have other columns on there that state the active, inactive, in progress, and also a definition of if the money is still sitting there, if that's being spent shortly, and when the date is that's being spent and closed out.
Thank you, Mr. Malagudi. If you could you please lower your hand unless you have more to say? Thank you. All right. Yes, Ms. White.
I just wanted to note too that the Burke's Law does not contain any projects that involve borrowing.
Great.
Where the other report does. That's why it's more extensive.
Thank you for that clarification. Appreciate it. Okay. Ms. White, I know there's been at least one change on the spring calendar, or at least one that's being contemplated, but I'm referring to this document here, the yellow and white one. Any updates you wish to share?
No.
Okay, very good. All right. Now I would like to just share for a moment a template I'm proposing that we use for our budget reports, if I can bring that up. We'll see if I'm successful in sharing my screen. Ms. White sent you all a template. What I found over the years, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. White, it is the minutes that go into the book, not the presentation that's made at the budget meeting. And so you have the option of doing both, but I last year trended towards just presenting the minutes as my presentation. So for you subcommittee chairs, something to consider, and I'm going to try to share my screen now. I have to enable sharing because I usually turn it off for meetings. Oh, I'm flunking at Zoom 101 tonight. Here we go. I guess I don't have host tools on my machine, so I'll come up for just a moment. So this is taken from an extract from DPW, but essentially the format could look like this, and we list your committee members, and you go through the, how do you scroll on this? Can you? Okay. Oh, wait, there it is. No, go ahead. What? That's the scroll button. Okay. I'll, For the subcommittee chairs, I'll be sending you the data behind this, but it would be great to have a table like this for the department budget, at least at the department level or at the subcommittee level. And for DPW, because it was so many budgets and such a large organization with a lot of money running through it, I did one for each department. So I'm volunteering to create these over the next couple of weeks for each of the subcommittees. And then follow the template that Ms. White sent to you all for your particular subcommittee. So I think I'm on DPW, so I'll help that chair as well, and I'll also on administration, so I'll help there. But I'll be sending an Excel spreadsheet out tonight with all of these numbers in it, as voted on last night, and I had Jeanette look at my totals for FY27 to make sure that they tied. But at the end of the day, the Bible we will tie to is the budget book, which you should be getting probably within the next week or so, because that's a fairly significant effort to pull that together. That is, it should be in the report because that's what'll go in. I'm much, so last year realizing that the presentation doesn't make it into the report, or it doesn't go to in the packet, excuse me, the budget. Yeah, the report doesn't, the minutes do. So the minutes are what matter, so it's the other way around, okay. Well, minutes go on the website, the report goes in the budget book, so I have it backwards, so, and the town meeting book, so just have it in both, I guess, would be a great thing to do, okay? So that's enough on that, because I've managed to muddy that up, so. Any questions, concerns? It's a bit of an experiment this year. Yes, Ms. Richards?
I, for one, I appreciate all of your efforts doing this.
Okay.
Because I took your spreadsheet and I was actually working on it for my subcommittee. And that is a yeoman's work
Okay,
doing
well,
that. So
and
I
it's also,
appreciate it.
when you're hand transcribing it for something like DPW with so many lines, it's fraught with fat finger errors.
Oh, well, I was doing it with finance department with all of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
and
so
I
that'll
had
be
to
coming
add-
out to the, I'll send it to everyone. It'll be an Excel spreadsheet. Some of you don't have Excel. I believe you'll be open to open up with Google Docs, should you choose to do so. And if you have any tips about how to filter out all the other noise, I can make a version that's just as focused on your subcommittee very quickly.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. All right, any public comment? I don't see anyone here from the public, either in person or online. And so I want to take a moment, one, to thank you all for sticking through it last night, and also apologize, because had I known what I know now, I would probably not have agreed to have A&F come to that meeting, because clearly there was quite a bit of deliberation. The budget was not fully cooked. So, but it would have been very awkward for us to leave it in the middle of that meeting. So again, now I did learn a few things. That was one of the things I learned. So we'll do a joint committee when there's an approved budget, is my advice to the next chair. For those of you who know, the chair is renewed every year by this committee from someone on the committee. So my term as chair will expire in June, at the end of June. But, and actually my term on the committee too, but I'm expecting to get re-upped, and I hope I do. So with that, any other comments? I think it was certainly an interesting experience, but would anyone else care to comment? We clearly have our job ahead of us. They did not do it for us last night. So I hope that your eyes and imagination as we go through the budgets, and knowing that we have these tools of Burke's Law and things like that to get creative, and certainly I'll certainly be looking at certain reserve funds that people are reluctant to spend, because I think the rainy day, or, it's like the ice and snow budget I've had in many reserves I've had in many of the institutions I've worked for. When it doesn't snow much that year, you take the remainder of the budget and you stick it in that reserve, because the year that it does snow hard, you need it, and you'll go over your budget. So, yes, Ms. Richards.
So anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm under the assumption that, and I heard this somewhere, that our departments and department heads are, if they don't spend their budget from the previous year or the year before that, then they're not really penalized for it. Their budget doesn't get reduced the following year. Which I totally understand that. However, if they're historically not spending their budget, then should we be looking at, well, why aren't you spending your whole budget? And maybe we should really be looking at reducing that budget.
So first of all, yes, there used to be a use it or lose it, and I think that changed. We learned last night some time ago. And I think your point is valid. I think what we saw last night was some departments were realizing they didn't need that, and were able to cough up a little. But I would also say in this exercise, there's not a, you know, as you squeeze more and more, there's not a lot of slop in the system in case something goes wrong. So all I say is, please look at it. If you think you see something, let's bring it up. We have the power of this committee, which we sometimes feel powerless. People do listen. And those are the kind of ideas that we should examine. But I think, you know, and you know, look at what the previous year budget was back in 25. I think we go back to now and what the 26 what it ended up being and things like that.
Yeah, and I think also on the budget, in the finance department's website, you can even go back 24, 23, 22. I wouldn't go any further back prior to 22, because then you're looking at COVID numbers, and those numbers can be skewed. But I would certainly look back further than 25.
Well, the other thing too is we got a lot of work to do between now and the end of this month is when your budget reports are due to Jeanette and I on, the latest date is, Jeanette, if you could remind me. Okay, well.
I'm sorry, I
cover it
don't have
next
that in
week.
front of me.
Mr. Vecchi.
Just a takeaway from last night's meeting where we were looking at a 1% across the board, departments trying to cut their budgets. And the repeated talk was the specter of this next budget cycle being even worse. Are we going into our subcommittee meetings with any type of a guidance as far as whether we're looking for a 1% reduction? Or are we just supposed to be looking at what's reasonable, or how is that guidance going to be set down to the subcommittees as far as, what we're looking for? Are we looking for a reduction to stave off that abhorrent 2.5 override they keep talking about? Or, is that going to come from the selectmen? Is that going to come from us?
Well, our job is to, as the A&F committee, is to review those budgets, ask those kinds of questions, and recommend adjustments to town meeting. So the select board has made a recommendation of a budget, and if we find things that we think should be changed through the subcommittee work, and ultimately the recommendation of this committee will be to, let's just take DPW. 1 year, I think we wanted to do something with our own position. Never made it out of this committee, but the point is, we can make a recommendation to change that budget. We don't have to present the select board's budget. We make our recommendation. And then as part of my job at town meeting, or whoever's the chair, is to present that recommendation on behalf of this committee. Not personal opinions, but rather this committee. So the answer is, if you see something you want to talk about, ask the question.
Okay, this is a question because last night the line kind of got blurred.
Well, it was starting to get blurred, and I think I will just say that, I tried to make it clear, we have a job to do, and last night didn't change that job at all, other than perhaps informed us how things work. I think Mr. Malaguti has his hand up.
Yes, thank you. So to Mr. Vecchi's point, yeah, when we go into all of our subcommittees, we're going to have all the basically line item books by Jeanette and the finance department. That's going to give us a much broader and scrutinized view of every single dollar that's being looked at for the budget. That's where you start looking at your correlations from the past 2, 3, 4 years and see, is there a reason why it's increased besides inflation and cost, or is it just because it's business as usual? Also looking at things in there like we've done in the past, saying, is there a better way to do this? Is there a reason why we keep doing it this way when this way on the other side could actually be cheaper or more efficient to do? These are the questions that you need to look at when we're in the subcommittees, and feel free to ask any question. Sometimes we think there is, but there's no such thing as a stupid question. When it comes to this, it's just a learning curve that some of us need to look at and get better understanding on it. But anything that you have a question on, whether it's $100 here, $10,000 there, we need to now more than ever look at how the budgets are working and find ways not just of cuts, but better collaboration for efficiency, which leads to cuts in the future.
All right, Mr. Snyder? Thank you, Mr. Malaguti.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got to tell you, I was incredibly disappointed last night watching that selectmen's meeting. You know, if you're on the finance committee, you know that you can have 2.5% plus new growth every year. You cannot come in with a budget 6% over the previous year and then have a majority of selectmen approve that budget without any cuts. I thought it was an embarrassment. And so we have our work cut out for us. And at the subcommittee level, I remember last year, we were able to cut $10,000, $15,000 out of one budget. It was tough, but it can be done. And I think it's our job to make sure that the taxpayers in this town are represented by somebody, because the selectmen aren't representing them. And I think that that lays on our laps to kind of look at this thing really carefully, find out what is not necessary to have, that they can live without, and present a budget that is fair to the taxpayers of this town and also the employees of the town.
Thank you, sir. And if you could lower your hand, I'd appreciate it. Electronic hand.
The chairman,
Yes, Mr. DiNardo.
would you allow me to speak for a moment?
As soon as the rest of the committee does. But
I understand.
I
Thank
have
you.
you on record as wanting to speak. Thank you. Mr.
Thank you.
Ramey?
So one thing that Mr. Brindisi brought up in his presentation was the massive increases in healthcare costs, but also said that they were expected to go down once GLP-1 was removed from Blue Cross Blue Shield's prescriptions that they
Yes.
covered. Do we know, is that going to happen this fiscal year? I mean, he made it sound like it was next year. Is that going to affect our budget planning for this year at all? Is that something that is going to be next year?
Well, coincidentally, I happened to ask him that specific question this morning.
Ah.
And so, first of all, the health insurance cost is over budget because of the rising cost of was believed to be GLP-1 related medications. And our insurers dropping that from the formulary effective, I believe, July 1st, which is the beginning of the new fiscal year. So I believe the overage will be covered by reductions in the healthcare reserve fund. And of course, that'll need to be replenished. It was at 12 million. I think it's supposed to be at 9 million at the end of this fiscal year. So it's unlikely we will see a benefit for that. But one of the things that could happen is that the budgeted costs for next year may be, instead of directed to just covering or perhaps covering costs and replenishing the healthcare reserve fund, go to replenishing the healthcare reserve fund, because I think the desired balance is typically 12 million, and that does have an impact on our bond rating, along with all the other reserves the town has. So that's TBD. But again, as we see other opportunities to save money, it wouldn't hurt to give a recommendation how that might be used. So it turns out, I understand the logic, for example, of having police cars, since you just have to replace them every year, be part of your operating budget. The way I've always done it is you budget a contribution to your vehicle reserve in the institutions I've worked for, and then you withdraw from that reserve, and you're not bound by any fiscal year spending. So that's very convenient. But it's the same kind of principle. So as we look at for example, other articles that may suggest funding certain things out of free cash, but those, I think, bear scrutiny in terms of how important is it, is it a must do, should do, nice to do, or don't do. So that's part of our task, is to go through that. And I'll stop there for a minute because I want to see if anybody else has any comment. Oh, Mr. DiNardo, you wanted to say something, and I'll try to close this out.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Al Donato, Precinct 17. I too was very disappointed last night. frankly, this discussion, and I've said this before, I'll repeat myself, frankly, this should have been taking place 3 years ago. We began to take money out of the reserve levy. And I know now the argument is, hey, other communities are worse off than us. I don't buy that argument. $28,000 in cuts last night was very symbolic. I did have a good discussion with Chairman Golden today that if there's going to be just symbolic cuts supported by the select board, then they should make some symbolic cuts with their stipends they get. So, but that, I'm not going to make that as a motion, as a suggestion. I think that's something the board itself can have a discussion on their own. As far as we're all talking about symbolic here. The town has had a number, I mean, I've only been here 5 years. You've had a lot of these $1 million hits over time. And clearly somebody's not watching stuff. I was on the Legislative Oversight Committee. I'm not the chairman, but I was a member. There was alarm that, gee, this money just sat there for many years. Somebody's not watching this. So in closing, I want to say this. Being up in Red Brook, 2 years ago, we had that controversy with 16C where we're taking the money from community preservation. Well, what happened after that is a lot of our market rate was paused, and it continues to be paused. We're at about 700 up there. We're going to go to 1288. Just some quick numbers, the last 2 fiscal years, if we were allowed to build 50 of those market rate homes, you would have been talking $400,000 or $500,000 each fiscal year. Look at it as a turnstile. That turnstile was turned off. We will never recoup those dollars from those fiscal years. Of course, when those market rate homes come into play, we will gather that. You know, that will get onto the levy. We'll get that. Who knows when that's going to happen? I'm not saying that's the cause of our problems. There's a number of structural problems and issues and oversight problems. So, but it's just another thing that I think now with AD Makepeace, I know there was a controversy with the sand mining. You now have a bylaw committee coming forward with a consultant that town meeting supported. So that issue is put to rest with AD Makepeace. So hopefully we can get, to cut to the chase, we can get that market rate going and getting it on the levy as soon as possible. That will only help us. So thank you for all your work you're doing, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Naru. We have an interesting month or so ahead of us. But I just want to remind folks that it's okay to ask the hard questions. It's important to be respectful of the individuals you're asking them of. A lot of people work very hard for this town, and while we may not always agree with things, I think people are trying to do things with the best of intentions. So treat people like you want to be treated, and I think we'll have a successful effort. And the other thing is, with all due respect, I think it's important to park the past. We can't fix what happened, but we can change what's going to happen. So it's important to learn from the past, but it's also important to see what is possible to do and then have the courage to do it. So with that, I think I've already covered the public comment. Is there anything else anybody wants to say on the board committee this evening? Well, again, thank you for hanging in there last night and all the work that you do and are going to do. And with that, I would be more than delighted to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make that motion.
Mr. Snyder makes a motion to adjourn. Is there a second by any chance? Mr. Vecchi? All right, any discussion? All right, Ms. Butler?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Friedman?
Aye.
Mr. Jacinto?
Yes.
Ms. Keating?
Yes.
Mr. Malaguti?
Yes.
Ms. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Ramey?
Yes.
Mr. Reitman? Ms. Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Snyder?
Yes.
Ms. Tompkins?
Yes.
Mr. Trudell?
Yes.
Mr. Vecchi?
Yes.
Did I get everybody?
Yes.
Have a wonderful evening. We are adjourned at 8:19 PM.